What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knives of the Round Table. My name is Marco, and today we're going to be taking a look at a small fixed blade that kind of caught my eye, and this is the Lionsteel H2. There's several versions of the knife. The H1 is more of a sheep's foot blade, and then there's different handles and things like that. But they all have basically this configuration where it's kind of a fixed blade with flip ring on the back. They're all in M390. This version is a drop point blade with a swedge. We have a sharpening choil that looks to be adequately done. You've got jimping in the back and G10 handle scales. So this, it kind of caught my eye. I am not a self-defense expert where I know how to use this, okay? It just caught my eye and I thought it looked interesting, and I've always wanted to check one of these things out. And more than self-defense, for me, it feels the category of kind of EDC carry whenever I can get away with it, right? I work in an office, so I can't have a knife on my belt most of the time. It's just, I'll scare half the office away. So I can use this whenever I have a belt on. Then I either have like a long sweater or an untucked shirt on a Friday or something like that, and then I can wear a fixed blade like this. But let me give you some size comparisons, because this is a kind of a smaller fixed blade. And so what we have here, that's the Para 3, and this here is the Para 2. So lengthwise, very much in line with the Para 3, if you can tell, although a sharpened blade length is probably much closer to the Para 2. So it's a smaller fixed blade, especially at especially for a fixed blade, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because generally my fixed blades are much larger than that. Here's against the bug outs, and I'm comparing it against the folders because it feels more of a roll. I will compare it here in a second against one of the fixed blades, but because it feels a roll of more of an EDC, this is not what I would consider an outdoor type of knife, right? So, because if I give you the comparison to an SC3, right, you can see this is more of a kind of the smaller fixed blade I like to carry when I'm out camping and doing stuff in the woods, and that's 4 inches, and this one's much smaller than that. I mean, even if you measure to the very heel of the handle here, you're looking at just a little over 3 inches versus the full 4 inches that you got on the SC3. So more than an outdoor knife that most fixed blades are, this is more of an EDC. So let me get started with the review, and let's talk ergonomics. And ergonomics in a saber grip, okay, in a saber grip is comfortable with one exception. My large hand, my pinky really gets into this ring, right? So whenever I'm holding it hard, this loop here, it's in the way of my hand. I wear large gloves, so maybe somebody with just a slightly smaller hand, medium-sized hand, your pinky would land here, and I think you would find this knife very comfortable, especially because what they've done, it's full tank construction, but they've wrapped the G10 underneath, so it's very comfortable to hold. But in my large hands, I do have a little bit of lack of comfort here in the back. Now, why am I holding it like this? Some of you might say, well, that's not the way you're supposed to hold it. Well, kind of, sort of, right? Because they've added some jimping here. So the jimping intends for you to be holding it right there, because in the way that it's meant to be held, right here, there's no use for that jimping, right? There's no way, there's no finger that can reach that far down, to hold it. So that jimping it's telling me that this is one of the positions that the knife is meant to be held, and in that position is comfortable. It'll be very comfortable with medium-sized hands. For me, it's just okay. You know, there is a little bit of a hot spot or an uncomfortable area back here. So ergonomics, okay. I think they'd be great in medium-sized hands. For large-sized hands or larger, I would say it's probably okay without it being awesome. Okay, now cutting is also okay. It's not thin blade stock. Let me try and show you here against the. So you got the kind of the same blade stock, very similar to a pair 2, but it has a little bit of a flat here, and then the grind doesn't get to a very thin edge. You know, usually fixed blades are meant for a little bit of harder use, and I think that's the case here. Especially, I'm guessing, you know, if this is for self-defense, I guess you still want it pokey, but you don't want the tip to break. So it doesn't come out to a ridiculously thin edge. For my purposes, for what I use, almost any edge will do. You know, as long as it's, you know, as long as you can get it sharp, even if it's a little bit thick behind the edge. But you will not find it as slicey as a bug out or a pair 2, and you certainly won't find it as pokey. There's a lot of material that carries up and towards the tip. So another thing, fit and finish. So fit and finish is actually fairly good. I like that they've done, so they've crowned the spine of the blade. They've crowned the jimping. You know, they got this really nice wedge. It's M390. This is made in Italy by Lionsteel, and I don't find any flaws with it. And the thing that I like the most, and I think, you know, I have a thing for sheaths. I think I'm discovering, and the sheath for this knife is just incredible. Look at this. So it has 2 methods of carry, right? You can carry Scout's carry, right? Your belt goes through this. And I like the fact that they've done the second one, because most Scout carries, they have this one, and when you hold it in your belt, I don't know if you can see, but it always tilts to one side. You know, this thing rotates, and you have a lot of handle on this side, and usually you end up with, instead of having a horizontal carry, you end up with the knife hanging crooked on your back, and that's just really uncomfortable. And what they've done is they've added this second loop. So now your belt can go through both, right? And then you can just, you know, extract the knife. But this loop can also be used for vertical carry or dangle carry, I guess. Just the belt goes through there, and then it carries very nicely. The sheath is very, very well done. I like this sheath quite a bit, and I think the knife looks badass in it. So there's not a lot to say here. I like I said, I am not one who knows how to, you know, flip and use it for self-defense. So don't look for me to give you that sort of advice. There's other channels that can teach you how to use this. But as an EDC, you know, there's several others that I consider probably better. You know, I wish that the TPK Raptor that I'm showing here, it's one of another one. I wish that one had a sheath similar to this. You know, if it did, this would be perfect. I hate the kind of sheath that comes with it. It's just looks like crap, in my opinion. So you know, I guess you'll never get 100% of what you want. But I would say that if you have medium hands, this is very ergonomic. If you need this, you'll have to tell me in the comments if you find this useful for self-defense. Again, I'm not an expert in that area. But as an EDC blade that I can carry in my back, or I can carry on my side, and you know, and on a very, very nice sheath with very good materials, just to have a blade on me. Sometimes I just feel like having a fixed blade on me. I think this is a very nice choice, and there's options here of different G10s and different blade shapes. So you have that. That's really nice to have. So guys, more than a review, this is almost an overview. It'll be called a review, but On a small blade like this, there's, in my opinion, there's not a lot of utility here, especially because I can only use it in certain times because of what I do. But if you're more free to carry than I am, then this is probably a good choice for you. Well, guys, hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, and if I earned it, then like and subscribe. Don't get notified. Nobody likes to get more emails. You know where to find my content if you enjoyed. Until I see you at the next one, take care.